Alright, how y'all doing? Welcome to episode 2 of the Vending Biz, How to Gain Wealth and Financial Freedom. It's going to be a good episode. Today we'll be talking about how Covid-19 will be affecting the vending business. I'm Kashif Edwards.
And I'm Armandi Marshall.
Tune in.
So we're going to jump right into this segment. Kashif, how does the COVID-19, how does this affect the vending business in general, specifically,
For me, so for me, it's definitely been some changes. I know I get this question a lot, is how has, the situation with the virus been affecting business? I think it's really had a toll on, a lot of businesses, not just really like vending. But I know for vending, exactly, it's definitely been a drastic change. Mainly with entering buildings. So with some like office buildings, before you go in there, we have to turn in paperwork. So you have to sign a form saying you don't have any fever, saying you haven't been out of the country, and so on and so forth. So it's like a little contract you got to sign before you even can enter the building. That wasn't there before, obviously. Other than that, I would say it's also been a change. The biggest change is the places being closed. Mm-hmm. So a lot of those places that we have are now shut down. Like, so some of the schools are a big account. I know some of my biggest accounts are my schools, and they're done for the school year. So that's definitely a major change. But then we also have some accounts that are usually a little slower has been doing a little doing a lot better. So like your apartment buildings and whatnot, the sales of my apartment buildings is going up. I know you got a factory, right? So how's the factory been?
The factory is it's a concrete factory, manufacturers, I believe.
Yeah.
They cut concrete. It's been going really well, actually, because their business basically don't stop even with the pandemic. Their hours is still the same as well.
Have you found like a difference in sales or anything with that?
Sales is actually increased about $200 to $300. It normally averages around like $800 a month.
Okay.
And I'm already at $800 right now. The month is not even over. So.
All right. I would say another thing, another major change I've noticed with the way we order products. So I know for myself, I know mine. We go to a warehouse, and my main source is the warehouse that we use, and is Sam's Club. All right. So those are the main places I get my products from. I know you get some of your stuff like offline and whatnot. Yeah. But for Sam's Club, the major change with that is they're not letting you get more than one of the same product. So if I was to go in there and try to get 20 cases of Pepsi, they're not letting me do that.
Yeah.
If I were to go in there and try to get 15 boxes of Pop-Tarts or whatever it may be, they're not letting me do that. So they put a restriction on how much you can buy. So that's like the biggest hurt piece of it. But I've been able to get around that because I also use the warehouse that we have, we have as a resource where we buy machines and we buy products from. Mm-hmm. That has come in handy, but even with them, they let you get what you want, but they're in a situation where they're not ordering any new products. So whatever they have, they're just selling, and once they sell out, they're not ordering anymore until after the situation is over.
And you have to call in first to place your order, and then come there to pick it up.
Right. Well. Because before it was like you just walk around, grab what you want. Now they want people to call in, and then they'll pick the stuff for you, and then you just kind of got to meet them at the door. Yeah. So those have been the biggest changes that I've seen dealing with it. Also, another thing with Sam's Club, they putting a limit to how many people can actually walk around the stores. So there's a line to get in Sam's Club, whereas though before, you could just pull up, grab what you want, and then you in and out the store. And that really hurts because, let's say, since you can't buy a lot of product now, like before I would get all my stuff for the month. Now it's like, all right, well, I gotta go every week because I can't get as much, as I used to buy. I can't buy as much in bulk. So you have to go to Sam's Club more. But now it's like, all right, well, you go, you have to wait in line and then get your stuff, and then so it's like adding extra time to what would usually take a few minutes, and that was taking like an hour and some change.
Yeah, you have to be real creative. You have to have a real creative approach, and that's what I've been doing as well. I order offline, but even with me ordering offline, I order from Quill. They're like a retailer who sells everything. Even the delivery, delivery is not as quick as it normally be, as before. And there's a price, you can't, there's a product limit as well. Also things I've been experiencing as just not being able to even get in buildings. So since I have my school, I can't even get into school because it's shut down for the year. So with me, it's been more just trying to be creative and getting products in different spots, different places, from the warehouse as well, to try to cope with this, with this virus.
Yeah. So, and I've definitely still found growth through the whole thing. I recently got, and I posted it on my page, I recently got a laundromat. We might have a hotel coming up. So, it's still ways to maneuver and grow, and kind of just, tie yourself in for when things open back up. But the COVID-19 definitely has had an impact on the business. I would say more so, and not even really with Vending, like I said before, with all businesses in general, but I think it will affect the bigger businesses more than anything else, because they have a lot of staff and they might have a lot of overhead, which is one good thing with Vending, even big or small, you don't really have a lot of overhead. Like outside of your storage, if you have a warehouse or something like that, you won't have too much overhead. It's not a lot of things to really pay for outside of your products and your storage. And if you have employees, you obviously have to pay your employees, but it's not a lot of cost behind it.
Yeah, we kind of blessed to be in the vending business. This is one of the few businesses that can actually still make money and still be profitable with what's going on. And there's not many businesses who can, actually really say that, because it's still essential,
Right.
if you look at it. So even with most of these businesses being shut down, the essential businesses are still businesses that require vending machines.
Right.
Hospitals, hotels, motels, apartment complexes. So.
All right. So, and I would say with that, like, even with the vending business, depending on what level you on, like, it's very, you can maneuver very easily, right? So, let's say, like what you just said, with the certain types of businesses that you have, let's say, all right, well, I'm ahead. Let's say we go into a recession, or let's say these buildings never open back up, right? Say it stays the way it is now, which is not gonna happen. But let's say these certain places never open back up, but you can still, since the business is actually able to maneuver, the machines can be moved from one place to another. So even if you go to the spots that are now closed, you could put them somewhere that's a spot that's open, like, and you can move your whole business from this place to that place.
You can take your machines out.
Right, you can take your machines out, put them wherever they would do better at, and that's one thing I think is good, because it's with brick and mortars and whatnot, like you're kind of stuck where you're at. With this type of thing, it's like you can go to wherever the money is. Like you just gotta be able to find the money. Like you gotta be able to find the good locations in this scenario. So. That's a major key to being successful in this business is having good locations. It's all about the location.
All about foot traffic and the locations itself.
Right. So I think so even if this thing were to stay the same, let's say schools never back open, I just would pull all my machines out of the schools and maybe try to get them into more apartment buildings, more laundromats, more that type of thing. So anybody that's looking to get into the business, I know a lot of people ask me, well, what are some essential buildings I can get into now? Like I would say, look into the laundromats, look into the apartment complexes, look into the factories, that type of thing, because those aren't going anywhere.
Yeah. And honestly, when you think about it, those businesses that you just said, they are already some of the best locations to put your vending stuff in anyway.
Right.
Without with this stuff going on, so it's kind of what you really shooting for anyway. These are good to great locations in itself.
Right.
And they essential, whether this is going on or not. Those businesses are still going to be ran.
Right. I think the only thing that are usually good, like that's not good right now, are the office buildings, because majority of vending machines are in office buildings, you know, in the actual like lunchrooms or whatever, and then schools.
Yeah.
Like, so your universities would usually be doing numbers right now, they low. Like high schools usually do well right now, they're low. So, you know, you would just have to maneuver around that whole scenario and make sure make sure your business is still successful. All right, so now I want to touch on one other thing. Okay, you got anything else with that?
Not on that subject.
All right, so that's something else I want to touch on. So I know about a month ago, I don't think it was a month, maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, I made a post, and the post said, if you don't come out of this quarantine with 1, a new skill, 2, a new side hustle started, 3, more knowledge, you never let, or more knowledge, it said you never lack time, you lack discipline, right? And I want to be real sensitive with this topic because I know a lot of people others have lost loved ones in this, you know, pandemic. But, you know, when it comes down to it, I think, you know, it's just really important to still, in my opinion, to still use the time that we have to try to do something productive with it. Because, you know, you still here, you blessed. So you got to be here for some type of reason, in my opinion. So I wanted to touch on that real quick. So what's your thoughts on that? Because I got a lot of different feedback from that. On Twitter, I got a lot of negative feedback. On Instagram, it was a lot of positive feedback. And I didn't create that post. I just posted it because I related to it and I felt it. So what's your feedback off that? How you feel?
I think as far as how I feel on that topic is, as far as with me, it's just about preparation, you know, during this pandemic, and you got to prepare for the next pandemic as well. So if something like this was to happen again, you know, are you going to be in the same situation? Mm-hmm. You know, even with me, I have an essential job. I work at the hospital, you know, so I'm still actually working, you know, God bless. But I have a second job, which I work in a school. Mm-hmm. So if that school job was my only job, I wouldn't have a job right now. Yeah, it's okay to collect unemployment, but that's only for a certain time period, you know. So, and with my own time, I've been learning new skills as far as, you know, stocks and option trading. I've been looking at different ways to make money off the vending as well, and from my cleaning business as well. So whether it's ebooks or courses, doing stuff online, and you're looking at one of them right now, it's the podcast. You know, so this is something that we thought of, that we kind of pushed forward when this, you know, when COVID-19 really hit, because this was just a thought before. Right. Now, since basically, you know, we got people more attention more because, you know, everybody is online now. This is the only thing that people can really do right now, and this kind of pushed that forward for us to start. And
yeah, I would say a lot of the response was outside of the positive response. Some of the negative response was, you know, just to survive this situation is enough. Like you shouldn't be telling people they should be trying to better themselves at, you know, this point in time. You just let them be, you know, just surviving is enough. And
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so, you know, now to be honest, I'll be real blunt. Like if your only goal in life is to survive, then hey, like that's, you know,
more power to you.
Right, and more power to you. It's not that hard. I ain't gonna say it's not that hard to do, but it's, you know, it's a lot harder if you want more, if you want to do more. Now, depending on where you come from, what type of life you live, you know, surviving ain't easy, and you know, anybody that knows where we come from can attest to that. Yeah. But I know what my platform and what my goal is always to try to better the people around me, better anybody that's listening to me, and better myself. Like, so, one thing I wanted to make sure I was doing during this situation was to come up with new methods, new skills, or whatever it may be, to better myself. Like whether even outside of this, creating more ways to generate income. Like it ain't always just about income, because at the end of the day, money don't equal happiness. Like you can have as much money as you want. That don't mean you're gonna be happy. Happiness is something that has to be defined by you. Like so, whether it's you working out, you picking a new hobby, something, whatever skill or whatever thing you want to develop to make yourself better, that you feel will make yourself better, is what's important at the end of the day. So that's more so where I was going with that. And I think it really just comes down to the way people are going to look at it. Like, so it comes down to mindset. Like, somebody could see this and think, okay, yeah, I need to build on that, I need to build on that. And then another person with a different mindset will see it and they'll feel attacked, like you're attacking them. And I think the people that really feel attacked are the ones who like to make excuses for themselves and the ones who don't really have that kind of killer instinct to get out there and make things happen.
Yeah. So I would say personally for me, this pandemic has helped me mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially, because it allowed me to put some things in perspective for myself and to put some focus into a few things that I probably never would have started this soon, and also allowed me to spend more time with my family as well. Even though it has been difficult, I still have that time frame to actually, to really spend with them.
Right, yeah, same here, man. I know this is the most time I spend with my family in a long time because I'm so used to ripping and running and doing this and doing that and, really just making things happen. Just having time right now where, to sit back and really spend time with your kids all day, spend time with my wife and whatever, is a blessing. Well, I know one thing, it just really opened my eyes. I know it opened a lot of people's eyes to what can happen when, life just snatches the rug from up underneath you. I had a few mentees, that told me they lost their jobs or got laid off during this time. I know a few friends that got laid off. So it just, goes to show you how easily that can happen. I know in the last episode we were talking about, how people were getting fired left and right. And to me, honestly, as much as as much as this is different, it's like a familiar feeling to me because the way this has just changed everybody's lives and took, income from this person, that person, and just, doing this and doing that. It's like I felt that before. Like, so this is just reassuring me that I'm on the right path. And then also, making me realize that even though I have a solid source of income, right, I have multiple solid sources of income, I could get more. Like, I need more. I need this, that, and the third. And just like everybody else. So for me personally, it just made me realize, hey man, even though you're doing good, you exceeded whatever your goals were financially. You free now. You're not working. It's like, all right, you still gotta put things in place because at the end of the day, this could change, that could change, and everything be going. Like,
yeah, still could be doing better.
Right, you never could be doing good enough. Like, you still could be doing better. We're watching some of the biggest companies in the world fall right now.
Yeah.
I know which one was it? I know Cheesecake Factory was saying they couldn't even afford to pay, their rent at their spots.
You look at the airline industry.
Yeah, airlines.
The oil industry.
Yeah, like it's the oil. Like
people
it's
filing for bankruptcy.
Monsters is falling. Like if these companies can fail, any company can fail. And then on top of that, if it just goes to show you that you need multiple sources of income coming in to make sure that you're good. Because I know one thing that happened to me was I spoke about last time is when I lost my locations that I had previously when I went full-time vending and I had to go back to work. I know the next time when I went up to vet and I went up to actually go go full-time again, I made sure I had multiple sources of income coming in. So now it's like where I'm at, I'm glad I got those because if I was just depending on this or if I was depending on that, it'd be a whole different situation.
It comes back down to mindset. To be honest, when you think about it, your mindset is what's going to separate you from the next man. Your mindset is what's going to help you recover from any struggle, any situation, get out of any environment. It's going to help you rebound from something like this. You just got to stay motivated, even though it might be hard. But it's still ways to maneuver. It's still ways to make profit. It's still ways to put food on the table for your family. Because at the end of the day, just because this disease is here, that don't stop.
Right.
You know, we both have multiple children, and they don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't
Right.
know what's going on out here, so we got to still continue to try to do what we know how to do best, and continue to try to better ourselves, because at the end of the day, it's not just about us at this point. You know, it's about our parents, it's about our children, it's about the next generation.
Right, right. So I'm gonna get into this, and I'm gonna ask you a question. So I know the main thing with this post is it was geared towards people who are not working right now, or who have extra time on their hands. I know one thing for me, when I was working, you know, obviously I was working a lot. Like I stated before, we was working 2-3 jobs at a time at once. Like, so I didn't really have time to really dive into business like that, because I was basically doing all the work and to gather the money I needed to start. But you know, when I was ready to actually get into it, and I had got my foot in the door, and I had the money, it was like, all right, well, I'm falling all the way back now, and I'm focusing on business. But this kind of forces people to take a step back, and you know, whereas though they didn't have time before, you know, now you have time, so you can't use that as an excuse anymore as far as you not having time. It's like you got all the time in the world now. If you're not working, you still getting paid. You know, now you got time. You just gotta actually take the time and do what you want to do with it in order to take those steps to better yourself.
Gotta use your time wisely. You know,
Right.
it's a lot of people that I see that have the time. They might be out of work, and they might be collecting unemployment, and you getting that extra $600 on top of whatever you making. Start your business. You know, invest in something.
Right.
You got people that's busy on social media, making TikToks and stuff like that. It's the same effort that you put into that you can put into
Right.
a business,
creating a
create
brand.
something for yourself, or create a brand for yourself. You know, it's no excuse. You know, I know, like we said, you know, this COVID thing is affecting everybody, but when you're in a position to better yourself, there's no excuse to do. You know, it's no excuse.
Even if you don't have enough money or enough means or enough resources to really go full-fledged with your business, at least come up with a brand, at least come up with the outline,
Yeah.
come up with something that's a step forward. Like, use the time to do something that's moving towards your goal. Like, that's the biggest thing.
You can write it down.
Right, even if you, that's just getting from the idea from your head onto the paper is a step.
When I started my cleaning business, I wrote that down a year before I even actually started it.
Right.
So it didn't take no money. I didn't have any money to even start it anyway.
Right.
So, like I said, there's no excuse with this going on. If anything, put your thoughts on the paper, and then when you have the money, when you have the resources, then you make it happen.
All right, so let me ask you this. So what about, so some people look at that quote and see one thing as far as it being positive, and some people look at it as another thing and see it being negative. Where do you say the difference in the mindset is? What do you think, in your opinion?
I would say the difference is probably how it's really affecting people in general. You might have people who might have a family member who they may have lost a family member due to this. So when they see something like that, they looking at it as, oh, how can you be marketing or advertising something like this when there's people out here dying? That's literally what somebody said. You know, when the post wasn't for that, it was mainly for, if you have the time on your hands, just make better use of your time. You know, in any fashion or any shape or way that you can. That's the main thing. The biggest difference that I see, you know, the negative side of it. The positive side is that, you know, if you're learning a hustle or a new skill, you got the time to do so. And more often times, the people who are in that mind frame, that has that mindset, they 9 times out of 10 they're gonna make that happen.
Right. So, I mean, I think, like, so mainly the people who are seeing it in a negative light, like I mentioned earlier, right? If you see that post in a negative light, it just, to me, that's saying, like, you just have the type of mindset that's not that of an entrepreneur. Like, so even, because I think one thing that's important with every successful business person is they kind of share a similar mindset, which is, you know, you got to be able to go get it. Like, in any circumstance, you still got it. So that mindset is like what's definitely important. You can't be a part of the 1%, or you can't be a part of, you know, the group that's successful without, thinking like the 99%. Like, you can't be a part of the 1% thinking like the 99%. So you really gotta have that type of mindset, like, I'm gonna go get it, do anything. Do any circumstances, ups, downs, it don't matter, because even if you're not dealing with Covid-19, which affects everybody, you're dealing with something that's affecting you in your personal life. That can stop everything in your personal life, even though the road around you is still going. It just so happens with this situation, everything stopped, everybody's affected, so everybody feels it. But even if that didn't happen, it's still something that's going to happen on a personal level, that's going to come and shut your world down eventually, if you out here doing things on your own and making stuff happen.
Yeah, and on top of that, entrepreneurship, it's just not for everybody. I will touch on that every single episode if I have to. And being as though, I messed the whole shit up.
Go ahead, just keep going.
I started entrepreneurship, everybody. Yeah.
I'm about to hit it. Go ahead. It's not for everybody.
Should I start right there or
Yeah,
start?
go ahead.
Should I start over? Or start
No, go ahead, man. Start talking when we're out of time.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is just not for everybody. And that's not a bad thing. If working is more is more of a guarantee for you, then that's your prerogative. But we talking about entrepreneurship. We trying to preach financial literacy, not just for our peers, not just for the people that's up and coming, younger generation, but the next generation as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. So I would say, and I would say this too. You don't have to be a full-time entrepreneur in order to be an entrepreneur. Some people think if you got a job, if you working, then you're not an entrepreneur, like you faking or whatever. I think, as long as you have that business that's important. Like, you can have a job and have a business. You can do both. It's just more so about what makes you happy. Like, at the end of the day, all this stuff comes down to being financially secure and being happy. Like, so in order, if in order for this man to be happy or that female to be happy, they want a job and that job makes them happy, cool, but get your business on the side, don't just depend on that job.
But the weird thing is that people don't think about it like that. But most entrepreneurs, this is how you start.
Mm-hmm.
You start in vending, my cleaning business. We started as while we was working as well. And I still have my businesses.
Don't take no crazy loans.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. If you need startup, then capital or working capital, then just work for it until you can get that money, to actually run your business.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do both at the same time. We're not telling you to go full entrepreneur from
Right.
the,
Just
from the
quit your
start.
job and jump off the bridge.
Yeah, we just let there's ways to start it. The money is not the factor in this if you do it correctly.
Right.
As we talk on multiple, levels and how we got started.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't have nothing when I started my cleaning business.
And I don't think, and people, you can't be afraid to start small. That's a big thing. You can't be afraid to start small. I started with candy machines, like the little quarter machines that only cost like $40. A lot of people ask me, what about, getting loans? I wouldn't suggest anybody start off a business in debt if you could avoid it. Say what you can, use what you got, start where you can start. Use that money that you have saved, if it's a few $100s. If you can only afford to get an LLC, get your LLC. If you can only afford to get your brand going, like with some clothes or whatever, like, then do that. But just start where you can. The important part, as long as you start and you taking strides towards it, that's important. Don't be afraid to start small. I know, because even for me, like when I was doing the candy machines, it was like, man, what am I making off these things? You know what I'm saying? But after a while, after I started growing it, it was like, all right, well, now I'm seeing something. And then I flipped it up to the machine, and we got machines, flipped it up to real estate. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you just grow, and then get into different lanes, flip up, and you're gonna do your thing. But you just gotta start. You gotta start somewhere. You just can't wait for that perfect time, because it's not gonna come.
Yeah, it's gonna take time. Don't try to be perfect in it. You gonna struggle first year, 2 years. What's the line of? I think it's like 60% of businesses fail within the first 3 years. And that's just solely off of, poor management. You might be a first time business owner. So just try to do it the right way.
Yeah, take your time, learn what you're doing, get educated, man. Definitely get educated on this proper steps to take. With that being said, make sure you check out. We're gonna wrap this up. You got anything else to add?
That's it.
So with that being said, make sure you check out our ebooks, check out our YouTube, and check out the other things we have to offer in terms of getting yourself educated in the vending business if you're looking to do that. If you're just looking to build yourself on like the 1%, to build yourself up to be financially free, check out our ebook, How to Gain Wealth and Financial Freedom, what the 1% won't tell you. All right, so tune in next time and have a good one.
Take it easy.